Today I have for you what I think has to be the worst list of questions for atheists I have ever seen. Usually these lists at least put up the pretense that they're about understanding the atheist, TM, patent pending, all your rights are belong to us. But this one just doesn't. It's on a website called Voice in the Wilderness that was run by this guy, Philip Del Rey, who sadly passed away in 2021 in his 60s. I don't know of what, the obituary doesn't say. It's hard to tell who runs it now, who has posted what on this website. It does list some speakers, but I poked around and it was really hard to get some clarity on that. But anyway, let's get on to this list. Let's get this party started. Hi, my name is Scarlett, and I'm an atheist and skeptic, and I have a love-hate relationship with questions for atheists. I like answering questions about what I believe because it helps me get at what I think and what I need to work on more. But generally, these lists are just evangelism tools, a set of gotchas to guide you toward religion without really establishing the truth of said religion. Really, they try to convince you that if you haven't thought something all the way through, or you can't explain a scientific process or a philosophical concept, Jesus wins forever and ever. Amen. These questions on this website totally give that game away. By the way, the website itself is sort of a shit show. Some of the graphics are fine, but it's like someone put a 1990s website into a 2020s one and called it a day. Font change size for no apparent reason, things are bolded and who knows why, and no one proofed it. Look at this part of the page. What year? Who posted it? Why is this a thing? We're going to repeat the title anyway, and then there's this long intro before we get into the questions. So let's at least take a look at the intro. We're told this article will be divided into 3 categories: logic, morality, and science. There are, however, a couple of questions that will stop the discussion before it begins. You're just sure of that. You just know that's going to happen, right? They are, isn't science something that can be observed and repeated? Then within that framework, what evidence is there for macroevolution? Who's that? Is that like Galileo? I don't know. Anyway, so this notion of science being something that can be observed and repeated, I think that we've got a very simplified idea of what science is. And, even without going and looking up a definition of science, I think that this definition is not the best thing to get at what science is trying to do. Okay, but let's go on and see what else this page has for us. I'm not talking about adaptation, small changes within a species, but for one species becoming another. If macroevolution is true, it's correct this time, there should be thousands of intermediate life forms all around us! ! Can you show me just one example? I could point to myself, I could point to you, we're all intermediate life forms. I know that creationists and this guy using the term macroevolution or Marco-evolution clearly is one of these creationist types, but they don't understand what evolution is, and they expect to find some half fish, half cat, or something like that, crocoduck, or whatever goofy thing. So this is a total misunderstanding of evolution. Now, we can't talk to this guy if Philip was the one that posted these, but I'm not sure there's anything you can show these people if they don't accept what evolution is. Anyway, so the fact is there is no observable evidence for macroevolution, therefore it is not science, it requires blind faith, which makes it a religion for the foolish. You really should talk to a biologist, is all I have to say, and they are definitely scientists, and there is observable evidence. But I guess we can just state things, right? We're not done with the intro, that's just the first part of the intro. After declaring we have defeated evolution forever, we have introduction to logic, ellipsis. In order to have a rational discussion with someone, we must begin by thinking logically and rationally. No prizes for thinking this guy doesn't do that thing, okay? It's going to be very clear that he doesn't do that thing. Anyway, the Christian can be as confident as a lion because of God's laws of logic, nature, and morality are self-evident. Because of they are. This is one of those, somebody needs to proofread the thing. Are they, quote-unquote, self-evident? Are they Is it evident that these were God's laws? You're just stating that without showing that. So let's go on. Let's look at what these laws are, and then, parentheses, God willing, we will see the insurmountable problems they pose for the unbeliever. Can't wait. All right, the law of logic. A rational debate would be impossible without the laws of logic. The first law of logic is the law of non-contradiction. This law states that all contradictions are false. You cannot say my wife is home and my wife is not home. Either both statements are wrong, maybe I'm not married, or one is right and the other is wrong. Both statements cannot be true at the same time in the same sense. That is simple logic. Ooh, aren't we all just learning? We're doing the big learning here today. If you think this through carefully, only the biblical worldview can account for these laws. Well, first of all, you only talked about the law of non-contradiction, so I don't know what these laws are, but I don't know where the Bible accounts for that. Do you have a Bible verse for us? Or are you just going to say stuff? Yeah, you know he's just going to say stuff. Let's keep going. But wait, the atheist can say, I believe the first law of logic and I don't believe in God or the Bible! Exclamation point. That may be true, however, in an evolutionary worldview, the atheist cannot provide a reason why logic would exist at all. The rationale for logic is only found in a biblical worldview. I have no idea what that means. I mean, I could go all Matt Slick and say that God created the laws of logic and therefore you can't tell me where they came from, so God must exist. But we're not even at that level. We're just saying God accounts for these, all right? The Bible clearly states that two antithetical positions cannot both be correct. Here is a perfect example from 1 John 2:21. I have not written to you because you do not know the truth, but because you do know it, and because no lie is of the truth. I don't understand how this is like some logical statement. You're just saying like a lie is different from the truth. Do you think you're proving something? Did he prove something? Are we all convinced now that we're not logical thinkers if we don't buy into the Bible? Let's keep going. According to the Bible and sound logic, something is either true or it's false. It cannot be both true and false at the same time. The evolutionary worldview provides no objective standard of truth and falsehood, right and wrong, or good and evil. Well, first of all, you didn't do that above. All you said was that the Bible says that lies are not true and called it a day, but you haven't actually established that the Bible is an objective standard of truth, and I don't know why the evolutionary worldview, whatever that is, would do this. This is just all so garbled and not logical at all. Okay, but we can't stay here and point out everything that's wrong with this because it's like fractal wrongness. So let's go into the next part. The evolutionist, parens, if he is honest, of course it's a he, right? It's a he, which is an oxymoron, close parens. Oh, so just going to insult people, right? That evolutionists can't be honest. Of course, there's no such thing as an evolutionist, and we're eliding evolutionists and atheists constantly. Apparently, there's just no difference. Anyway, must borrow from the Bible for these concepts to be rational. I see Christians say this all the time. They just say stuff. Like, what are you even talking about? The idea that we should or should not be rational at all depends on the universal laws of logic and the moral laws of God. Yeah, I'm just going to say stuff, right? This is we haven't even gotten to the questions yet. To be rational means you are able to give a reasonable answer for why something is true or false. Is that what rational means? Is that you can give a reasonable answer for why something is true or false, not the way things are. I mean, I can think of other things that you can say if you're a rational person. But this is already hurting my brain, and we haven't gotten to the questions. All right, we won't get to all the questions because there's just so many. But we're going to do the first bit. We are going to cover section number 1, logic. And then I love this, let the questions begin. It's like, are you ready to rumble? You can just hear him in his mind thinking like he's going to do this court case. And everything that he said as an introduction already lets you know that this is somebody that is not thinking clearly, that does not understand what atheism is, what evolution is, does not even understand what his Bible says or anything. He's just going to say stuff. But all right, let's go. Let the questions begin. Number 1, if I prove the Bible is true and God exists, would you want to become a Christian? I love this, prove the Bible true, like the whole Bible. Like you're going to go through and prove every claim in the Bible. How about, are you going to get rid of those contradictions? This is just something that Christians say, like as if the Bible is one single claim to prove true, as opposed to, I don't even know, countless claims that are in there. And, there are other things that you might want to become. You might want to become Jewish, right? But anyway, the obvious only outcome is that you would want to become Christian or there's something wrong. And he gives us these answers because, remember, the point is not actually to find out what atheists believe, but to evangelize. And these questions are meant for other Christians. So the answer A, if they say no, then you ask why not. B, then you're not interested in truth. You could still be interested in truth and maybe not believe the Christian or something, not accept the claims of truth or whatever. I don't even know how you prove the Bible true anyway. C, what are some of the obvious implications of your answer? All of a sudden you're going to go all Socratic method on this person? Yeah. And D, then isn't your real problem a matter of the will and not the intellect? The questioner is just so convinced of being a Christian and the Bible is true that there are so many other things that you could think about with this question, and this could be something very interesting to explore, but no, you're just going to insult the person, basically. All right, let's go on to what's next. Number 2, so you believe that nobody plus nothing equals everything? I don't even know what this question is getting at, and I promise you this is number 2 after that Bible question. I don't know if this is one of those, so you think something can come from nothing questions. I really have no idea what this question is getting at. And it's like a nonsensical question to me without understanding the context to even try to answer. Number 3, which is more complex? The world's fastest supercomputer or the world's most advanced robotic system, the space shuttle, or an earthworm? And there's no apostrophes in there to indicate that those are possessives. And I don't know when you say complex, what thing are you thinking? How are you defining complex? Anyway, the answer is the earthworm. Nobody knows how to make an earthworm. That's our answer. What is complex is, can you make it? The DNA and its reproductive system is beyond anything ever created by man. Then we have a sub A, how much more complex is a human compared to an earthworm? I guess these are follow-up questions. And B, what would you think of me if I firmly believed the space shuttle, the supercomputer, and the most advanced robotic system was the result of random, mindless chance rather than an intelligent designer? I guess this is an original take on the watchmaker. I mean, we know that people built these things, so that if you didn't believe that people built them, we have evidence that these are designed and built by humans, I would think there's something wrong with you, but we don't have any evidence for this intelligent designer. Let's go on. Number 4. Of all the knowledge contained in the 70 million books and articles, much of it written by scholars and experts in their fields, thank you for that clarification, found in the Library of Congress, and only the Library of Congress, maybe there are other books elsewhere, I don't know, and of all the knowledge yet to be discovered, what percentage of knowledge do you think you possess? And then he has a parens. My thanks to Ray Comfort for that one. And if you're thanking Ray Comfort, I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know. All right, so how much do I think I possess? I guess not a whole lot, right? So A, what percentage of the universe have you explored? Not much. I mean, I've barely explored the earth, right? B, for someone to say that God does not exist, wouldn't they need to be omniscient? I don't think so. I mean, you're a Christian. You think that God wants to have a relationship with everybody, so can't we expect that God to contact us? We don't need to be infinite or omniscient or all-powerful. We just need that God to want to contact us. I mean, there could be another God out there, but the God of the Christians is supposed to want to be with us and has left traces and interferes with our lives and things. All right, C, since you are not omniscient, what evidence can you offer that God does not exist? My man, it is not up to me to prove that God does not exist. It is up to Christians to show me why they think he exists. Offer me some evidence. I don't know. I'm not the one out here claiming that no gods exist. I'm saying, I don't believe in your God. What you got? D, since you cannot do that, doesn't that make you an agnostic rather than an atheist? I really hate this label stuff. Some people do prefer agnostic, and I'm like, you do you, man. I don't care. Some people prefer atheist. I like to think of myself as an agnostic atheist. The agnostic is about what can I show in the atheist is about what I believe. So these are not mutually exclusive. I know some people like to make a distinction, but I'm not one of those. And then E, so then wouldn't you agree that there is no such thing as an atheist? I would have had to agree with some of your other points to get there. But anyway, I know this is not for me. I know this is for Christians trying to evangelize me, and it's just not working. All right, let's go on. Do you believe there is bias in the media? Could there also be bias in laboratories and college classrooms? I love how there's the assumption that you're going to say yes to the first one, but say, is there bias in the media? There can be bias, and I actually think that a lot of reporters are trying to do a decent job and get past their bias. There's a lot of bias in the media, though. You can't get past that. And can there be bias in laboratories and college classrooms? A lot of us are trained to get past that bias and try to just get at the information. But could there be? Sure, there could. We're human. Number 6. Did you know that many prominent atheistic scientists admit to believing evolution even though they know it's not true? Is this a true statement? I don't know. We're going to get a quote here. Prominent evolutionist George Wald, biochemist and Nobel laureate from Harvard University, admits he believes and teaches a lie. When it comes to the origins of life, blah, blah. Okay, so the origins of life is not evolution. Can we separate out these two domains? Evolution starts happening when life has begun. The origin of life studies is a whole different field. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not going to look up this quote. I don't know when he said it. It maybe is a long time ago. None of this stuff can ever die. If you said it back in, the 1850s, that quote lasts forever and ever. So we're just not going to deal with this. You don't know what evolution is. You've shown you don't know what evolution is. You don't know the distinction between origin of life and evolution. So we're not going to deal with this. Not knowing how life originated does not mean that we don't know how it evolved. And then we have our next question. What do you call someone like this? A scientist? I don't know. This is not a person, though, that is teaching a lie. Can we just be very clear on that? Let's go on. Number 8. What do you think this man's real problem is? First of all, what man? And then, do we not believe in apostrophes for possessiveness in these questions? Because I've noted a distinct lack of apostrophes. I don't even know what we're talking about. Whose problem? What? I don't know. Is this referring to the guy above, the biochemist? I don't know. Number 9, the real answer comes from the famous atheist Aldous Huxley, who speaks for all atheists, whether they like it or not, in this priceless quote. Aldous Huxley does not speak for all atheists. I think that you are not being very rational right now. This isn't even a question, it's just a quote about Huxley not wanting a world with meaning and about not wanting the morality that had existed. But there's no question here, so we're going to move on. Number 10, here is another invaluable insight on what can drive atheism. Okay, so this isn't a question again. The question is, are atheists born or do they evolve? And, people are born with no belief and then they're indoctrinated, is what I say. I don't know about this, do they evolve? But anyway, it's about how a bunch of people had problems with their father. So if you had problems with your father, you're going to become an atheist. I don't know. It's not even a question again. We're moving on. Number 11, you are walking along the beach. You see in the sand the words, God loves you. Could the waves roll up on the beach cause that to happen by chance, or would it be far more rational to believe that someone just came by with a stick or a finger and wrote that in the sand? Yeah, I think it's obvious that these are words that would be written in the sand. I've never seen waves write words. I've seen them make some wavy things, but not write words. Is that all? Is that all we got here? Okay, we're going on. Number 12, you see the faces of 4 presidents carved in solid rock on the top of Mount Rushmore. You have 2 choices. A scientist with a PhD in geology tells you that this is the result of millions of years of erosion from the wind and the rain. The similarity to the presidents' faces is a coincidence. Oh, we do know what an apostrophe is, but we don't put it in the right place. B, a 16-year-old boy looks at it and says, that was obviously carved out by a gifted and very intelligent artist trained in the art of sculpting. How do you know that this was intelligent? I don't know that you necessarily know that this person was intelligent. Number 1, we have a lot more to this. Which answer is more rational, chance or intelligent design? I mean, you're obviously talking about Mount Rushmore, right? So we know about that. That's just silly. This is a silly example. 2, what would you think of me if I denied the great works of art were created by the great masters, that they all happened by chance? This is like a really, really silly thing. We know that those people existed. Come on. 3, when you see a skyscraper like Sears Tower in Chicago, isn't that empirical proof that there was a designer and builder even though you've never seen him? Again, we can look all this stuff up. We know buildings are built. This watchmaker stuff is just really tiresome. 4, think about what you are seeing in this picture. What picture? There's no picture. How does that logic not also apply to this system of sun, moon, and stars? Okay, do you have evidence of them being designed? Do you have evidence of this creative, gifted, intelligent artist? You don't. We just don't have any evidence of that. We don't have evidence of sun, moon, and stars having a designer. If you say they are designed, you're going to beg the question. You're defining it into existence. The watchmaker is just so tired. Let's go on. 5, can you honestly say that you believe this system, so vast, complex, and orderly, could have made itself? It didn't, make itself. It developed. It came to be. It did not, it wasn't acting on itself. It just happened through a bunch of processes. I shouldn't say that so blithely, but it happened through a bunch of natural processes, but not like it was acting on itself. 6, there are an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. The entire galaxy of stars rotates at a speed that will allow them to complete one revolution every 250 million years. They all stay in place like a giant cosmic Ferris wheel. I don't think that it's actually like a Ferris wheel, and they don't stay in place like a Ferris wheel. They're all sort of moving in different places. Anyway, this isn't the question yet, so let's go on. A, what causes that to happen? Why don't they collide? How much power do you think is required to drive this system? So there's gravity. That's what keeps them going around. Sometimes things do collide, like our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, is going to collide with Andromeda in, billions of years or whatever. I'm messing that up, I'm sure. But things do collide. They're not not colliding. And to drive the system, you make it sound like somebody's operating the system. The power is in the chemistry, the fusion reactions that are going on in stars and so on. B, does that look like an intelligent design / system to you? No. C, the sun, a small star, thank you for that clarification, consumes 400 to 700 billion tons of hydrogen per second. Multiply that by 100 to 400 billion, the number of stars in our galaxy, then by the trillions of other galaxies also revolving in place. Where did it all come from? It all developed over millions and billions of years. I don't know. I'm not good with numbers. It developed. It came about. It didn't have to be put there by anything. By the way, we're not really even into the science section yet. This is an awful lot of science in a section that's supposed to be about logic. That's all I'm going to say. And I think we're going to leave these questions there for now. There are just a ton more, but this is as much as I can do in this sitting. One of the disappointing things I think about reading questions like this is when I go back to that Aldous Huxley quote, there is somebody that was actually doing a kind of philosophy, thinking in terms of philosophy, and you're not going to try to understand what his point actually was. You're just going to try to juxtapose it to your religious thinking and then say, oh, and therefore atheists just suck, or whatever. Anyway, what did you think about these questions? You can put something in the comments below, and while you're down there, you can like and subscribe and do all the YouTube stuff. Love it when you do all the YouTube stuff. It's like libations to the YouTube algorithm. And if you like what I do, you can buy me a coffee. That link is in the description below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.